So last month, released on 4K, we finally got the 1987 gangster epic, The Untouchables from Brian De Palma. This movie saw my countryman, the late great Sean Connery, win his first and only Oscar at the 1988 Academy Awards for Best Supporting Actor in the role of Malone. I very almost never got this on 4K. When it was announced, I was keen, but I just was trying to watch the pennies. I didn't want to buy this Steelbook, as beautiful as it is. I know, I'm crazy. But thankfully, Father's Day came in handy and my wife bought me this very kindly as a Father's Day gift from my two girls, and I'm so glad that she did. Let's find out why after the break. So thanks for sticking with us guys. I'm Andy, the Electric Geek, and on this channel I mainly cover 4K Blu-ray, I do reviews, Steelbook unboxings, as well as other things associated with movies, geeky stuff, tech, gaming, you name it, I cover it. So if that's something you're interested in, please consider subscribing to the channel, and remember, if you like this video today, please give it a wee like, it really helps me. So in this video I'm mainly going to talk about the video and audio quality. However, I will briefly speak about my thoughts on the movie, but the aim of this video is ultimately to give you guys out there an idea of what to expect of the Untouchables on 4K and whether or not you should pick it up or not. Towards the end of the video though, I will do a bit of a showcase on the 4K Steelbook itself, as well as talk about the special features on the disc, and then to round off I'll give you my verdict out of 5. So 1987's The Untouchables. I think everyone's at least heard of the movie if they haven't actually seen it, but what we have here is the kind of real life story, albeit heavily dramatised, of Elliot Ness and his group of untouchables who went after the Chicago crime boss Al Capone. It's set during the time of Prohibition in Chicago in America, obviously, and Al Capone had been running amok basically, and he became the unofficial mayor. I think that's what they called him, the mayor of Chicago, even though he was obviously a crime lord. Elliot Ness came to town as a treasury agent and decided enough was enough. Devout kind of Christian guy, and decided to put a team of kind of uncorruptible police officers together to go after Al Capone and bring an end to his reign. And that's pretty much the structure of the film. We see Elliot Ness starting and he kind of struggles to begin with, and thereafter he realises he's going to need some help from people who know the town inside out and have experience as coppers. He enlists the help of Sean Connery's Malone, and between the two of them they put together a diverse team of untouchables. Untouchables are played by Andy Garcia and Charles Martin Smith. Kevin Costner takes the lead as Elliot Ness, and we also have a cracking supporting turn from Robert De Niro as Al Capone. But yeah, everyone should see The Untouchables. I thoroughly recommend it. I would give the film itself about 4.5 out of 5. You should definitely check it out. It's one of De Palma's great films. But anyway, on to the video. So this was filmed obviously on 35mm back in 1987. I think it was using Panavision cameras, and I think it was blown up for a 70mm print in some theatres, but ultimately it's a 35mm that's been rescanned and it has a 4K digital intermediate. With regards to HDR, we have Dolby Vision grading, obviously a standard HDR10 one, and then when it comes to the audio, we've been treated this time around to Dolby Atmos. On the accompanying Blu-ray that comes with it, you do get DTS HD Master Audio, and it's a 6.1 track as opposed to your typical 5.1, so it is something a bit more special than what you typically get on the Blu-ray, but they haven't included the Dolby Atmos. That's only on the 4K disc. So I came from Untouchables from a DVD. I've never actually owned the Blu-ray until I got the one that obviously comes with this, and I haven't really compared it. But watching the 4K version, for me, it was night and day. It was like watching the film for the first time compared to my memory of the old DVD. It's probably been about 20 years since I watched it. There's obviously a bit of grain there, but it's very fine. It's been a cracking transfer. There's plenty of detail in it. HDR use is very subtle, but I do think it brings a very lifelike representation to especially the outside exterior shots. There are some really dark scenes in the movie which offer an opportunity to see those really good black levels and shadow detail, and that's when Elliot Ness goes on his first raid near the beginning of the movie, which ends in absolute disaster. He uses a kind of big battering ram vehicle to get into the warehouse, and the big headlamps on the car are so prominent as they drive towards the camera against the dark backdrop. Really nice use of HDR. But as I say, it is pretty subtle. The costumes are all designed by Giorgio Armani, believe it or not, which I found out watching one of the special features, and the 4K detail and the HDR just really brings them to life. The costume design in this film is beautiful. There's something so classical about it. It's a bit romanticised, I would suggest, over what people probably wore back in the day. Not all the treasure agents were cutting about dressed in the equivalent of Armani suits, I would imagine. But interestingly, Sean Connery didn't like what was designed for him, and everything that he wears in the film was actually his own choice, his own wardrobe. So another fun fact for you. But yeah, with regards to the video for Untouchables. It's very satisfying. It's as good as, you know, like something brand new that's just came out. Of course not, it's an older movie, but for something that came out in 1987, it's the best it's ever going to look. That shot that De Palma's kind of famous for, or at least one of his techniques anyway, when he uses the split diopter, it's like a special lens, partial lens that's attached to the camera, which allows for 2 focal points. So it's in that scene where Malone is speaking to Elliot Ness in the church, you know, the whole, that's the Chicago way. That scene, terrible Sean Connery impression, I know, but bear with me. That sequence where it's really close in on both actors and both close-ups are focused on it at the same time, it really kind of does that shot justice and gives it a bit of a wow factor. It makes it even more kind of unique than it had previously been, certainly in my old DVD. I'd imagine that it's an uptick over the Blu-ray as well. Impressive stuff. But yeah, for the video, I'm going to give it 4.5. There was a little bits that are a bit soft, and it's probably just, you know, limitations to technology back then. I wouldn't say it's absolutely reference. I think there's maybe some older films that you would recommend ahead of Untouchables if you're talking about a demo, but it's very good. I thought it was great. I would give it 4.5 out of 5. Moving on to the audio, and as I say, we were treated to a Dolby Atmos track. Now, I haven't heard the DTS 6.1 track. As I say, I would have been listening to it no doubt on the old lossy Dolby Digital 5.1 back in the day, if that, on my DVD. But the Dolby Atmos, always a bit dubious when it's an older film getting Dolby Atmos. Sometimes it's kind of a name only. There's only so much they can do with the original source material. But I was actually quite pleasantly surprised with the Untouchables. The score is absolutely fantastic. I forgot how good Ennio Morricone's score is, and as soon as it starts off, it's just fantastic. You know, that unforgettable theme that plays over the opening titles is just superb in Atmos. It's so crisp, it's so bombastic and powerful. Straight away you're paying attention and you know you're in for something special. So the score is absolutely a highlight all the way through. With regards to it being dynamic and the height channels, that's what everyone likes to talk about when it comes to Dolby Atmos. There were actually some uses. I thought, where on earth are they going to find something to demo that other than, you know, just the typical atmospherics? But the scenes that did kind of jump out were at the kind of midway point in the film when they're on the Canadian border, and after the shootout happens on the bridge, Elliot Ness chases one of the gangsters that runs away back to the shack where they were holed up beforehand, and in a way to outsmarten him, he unpins a grenade and he lobs it over the tin roof, and it slowly trickles over to the other side, and obviously the gangster goes out to see what's happening as it blows up in his face, and Elliot Ness comes in behind him in a kind of sting manoeuvre, if you like. That is really actually pretty cool in Dolby Atmos. As he throws the grenade onto the roof, you actually hear it in the height channels kind of trickle its way over across the soundstage, and it's quite convincing, and that's just on my up-filer, so I'd love to hear that on dedicated speakers, you know, in ceiling. But that was pretty cool, and another time I felt it really added to the kind of immersiveness of the movie, if you like, is towards the end when Elliot Ness is chasing the henchman in the court case, and he chases him up the stairwell, and there's parts where they're shooting each other up the stairwell. Elliot Ness is below and the bad guy's above, and depending on where the bullets ricocheted, you hear it in the height channels when he was firing up the stairs, and you could hear it kind of in the lower channels when the bad guy was firing back down at him. So that was pretty clever, and I just felt it kind of added and gave a good depth to the soundstage, which obviously wouldn't have been present, I would imagine, on your typical 6.1 track without the Atmos. But yeah, for the audio, it's not like going to blow you away or anything like that, but it's the best it's ever sounded, and if you're a fan of Untouchables, you absolutely need to hear this if you've got the setup capable of playing the Dolby Atmos. So I think I would probably give it 4.5 again for the audio. So before I give you my final say and recommendation, I will just speak briefly about this really nice Steelbook. So you've seen the pictures on screen. What I love about this Steelbook, which I don't think comes across when you look at it online or wherever you're planning to buy it from, I got this in HMV, so I actually could see it in hand. As I say, my wife took me in there and treated me to it, but it's just a cracking design. Obviously it's Prohibition era theme, which I really love. If you look at the bottom there, it says aged 35 years, which I think it's just a really nice touch. It's got a kind of matte finish on it, but it does have debossed bullet holes. So as you can see on screen, when you hold it up to the light, it creates a really cool effect, and I think it's really nice. And you've got that in the back as well, and I think it's nice that they've found a way to include, because most of the artwork, certainly using that shot anyway, doesn't include De Niro as Al Capone, but he is a big factor in this, even though he's not got a huge amount of screen time, so it's nice that he's on the back of the Steelbook. And then the image on the inside, obviously, of them all on horseback is awesome as well. So it's a really nice Steelbook. As much as it's not super flashy, it's just dead elegant and very in keeping with the movie itself. It's an elegant, classically shot movie. So it's actually one of my favourite Steelbooks so far. Not that I've got a lot, but I really love the Steelbook. Really, really nice. And I can highly recommend it. There was a collector's set, so this is just the Steelbook, though. I think for an extra £5 you got like a kind of hard slip, and I believe there's some art cards and maybe a booklet, but don't quote me on that. So you're probably as well just getting that. But the wife was kind enough to get me this on 4K, and I didn't want to completely take the piss, so I just got the Steelbook. On to the special features, and just very quickly, I don't think there's been anything at all. There's no new commentary tracks or anything like that. We have an original featurette called The Men, reinventing the genre, the classic, the script, the cast, and production stories. I have watched some of them, they're pretty interesting. That's where I got the little bits of information that I kind of, in trivia that I gave you earlier on. But yeah, they're worth watching, but I'm pretty sure they're probably on the old Blu-ray. I kind of remember seeing them before, so maybe it was a collector's edition DVD I had, but they're definitely the old legacy ones. Some newer ones, but nothing that's been done brand new for this set. So some cool stuff there, but not anything that you haven't seen before. So ultimately, can I recommend Untouchables in 4K? Absolutely. Obviously I've given it 4.5 for both the video and audio, so that's what I would give it, a 4.5. I think it's worth going out and blind buying. I was going to hold off because I didn't think I wanted to spend all that money on a Steelbook, and I thought I'll hold off for the vanilla one, you know, get it for 20 quid or on a deal or something. But as I say, the Steelbook's lovely, so I'm glad that the wife treated me to it, and I've got this version, and I can definitely recommend paying full price for this. And if you can get it on a sale, even better, but definitely consider getting this Steelbook version. That's really nice. If I could include the packaging in the review, it would be getting a 5 out of 5. The Steelbook's a 5 out of 5, folks. But that's everything for the video. As I say, cracking 4K transfer for the Untouchables, I can highly recommend it. If you've enjoyed the video today, please give it a wee like, and don't forget to drop a comment as well. I'm actually looking for your advice here, alright? I haven't actually seen a huge amount of Brian De Palma films. I've seen most of these kind of newer ones, but I haven't seen a lot of the 80s and 70s ones, so drop a comment and tell me what should I watch next from Brian De Palma. And after you've dropped your comment, of course, you can watch some other content which should be popping up on the screen around about now, and of course, another opportunity to subscribe. It's free, go on, you know you want to. Thanks very much, thanks for watching. I've been Andy Electric Geek, and I'll catch you in the next video.